Really, it's simple math, and unfortunately, that's what happened at the end of the day. The math added up, and we just, like I said, we could not compete. It's a tragedy, but it's the truth.
I 97.1 I've never listened to. The irony, Shawnee, is that I could get you guys just fine. I could get 11:30 every day to work and coming home. It was bad in the evening and in the mornings, the early mornings. But I could get you guys. I can't get 97.1, so I'm not familiar with those guys. I've tried to stream them a little bit. You know what I've started doing, Sean? And this is kind of going to show what a slappy I am. I've actually started streaming Brady's show from Toronto. Just to get a taste, in the afternoons, because he's really the only guy on right now that's got a show. I've listened to a little bit of Brady from Toronto, and it's all hockey. It's 100% hockey, but it's kind of good to hear him. I don't know the 97.1 guys. I don't dislike them. I just haven't heard them a lot. And you talked about having 2 sports stations in Detroit. With the announcement that DFN is losing the Pistons, that they're also going to 97.1, aren't they not going to be sports after the Pistons season's over? Isn't that probably what's going to happen?
I would guess. That would be my guess, but again, I don't know.
Right.
For all I know, to me, what was so cool about WDFN back in the past is that you had so many people say, "You can't do it. You can't do it. Sports talk will never work. Sports talk. You guys don't have this. You guys don't have that." And for the longest time, it was so cool to prove all the naysayers wrong, and to be a part of that was so gosh darn cool. It really was, because And even when they gobbled up, they being WXYT, they gobbled up all the sports entities in town except for the Pistons,
right?
And spent a lot of money. We were still being told you can't. Well, we were more than holding our own in the ratings, and I'm being very PC when I say that. We were winning flat out. We were winning, and unfortunately, like I said, the death blow, so to speak, was the move to the FM.
Why the heck didn't DFN go to FM, Sean? It seems like such a no-brainer. You're winning in the ratings. You have a better product. You've proven that by the only objective standard, which is the ratings. Why not give you guys an FM stick and go to work, go to war with those guys?
Another great question. I don't know. I begged. I pleaded. Really, I did. All kidding aside,
Mm-hmm.
We all did. We begged and pleaded with management. And it was just something that for whatever reason, the company was unwilling to do. And I wish, like I said, I wish I had an answer to that. But I'm not the type of person who I don't look back in the past, man. It's like I'm looking forward and just going, okay, what's next and things like that. I'll always fondly think back of my time at WDFN. But at the same time, now it's like, okay, that chapter of my life was a great chapter, but it's over, and I can't wait to turn the page and see what the next chapter holds.
What's kind of cool, Shawnee?
So if I keep asking myself all these what-if questions and stuff like that, it drives me nuts.
Sure. It's kind of neat, though, on the iTunes. You're familiar with the iTunes and their work?
Mm-hmm.
You could get on there, and you've got like 600 shows available on podcast. And you can kind of go back and archive your show and Stoney and Wojo's show. So maybe
no kidding.
Once in a while, I'll just pluck out a topic that sounds silly. Usually it's one where you're just talking to Otto or Derry. And I'll just pluck it out of there and kind of listen for old time's sake. So that's kind of fun to be able to do. You had so much fun with those guys. Getting away from all the business part of it, just talk about the relationships with people like Marty and Spicoli and Otto and Derry. It sounds like you guys just had a great time on the air.
We did. That was the part. Above all, I'll miss that like crazy. Meeting so many cool people and having fun with them every day. And we did. Every day we had fun. And I miss that. And it's funny because my wife actually brought up a pretty funny question to me a couple weeks ago. It was the day after the Super Bowl. And she said to me, "Do you miss being on the air and not being able to talk about the Super Bowl tomorrow?" And I said, "No, really, I don't. As crazy as it sounds, I really don't." But then you'll run across something silly, a silly story online, or you'll see a possum in your front yard and freak out because I have this ungodly fear of possums, as I'm sure people that listen to the show know. And you know what? Those are the moments where you sit back and you say to yourself, gosh, I miss this. I wish I was on the air, So, yeah, it's a strange thing. No question about it.
Spicoli, you and Spicoli, I was devastated when Marty left your show. I'm not going to lie. You guys had great chemistry, and she's so dry and kind of a good straight man for you. But Spicoli brought a lot to the show. The whole Skirts on Sports franchise was really memorable over the years. The Pick 3 stuff that you guys did.
That was my wife's idea, right?
No way.
Yeah,
Skirts on Sports
was my wife's idea.
I didn't know that. How'd she come up with that?
Well, one day we were watching football together, and true story. You know how the guys at a crowd, they hold a sign. One guy holds a D, and the other guy holds a fence. She actually asked me, "What does D-gate mean?" So I immediately kicked her out of the room and said, "Don't talk to me." But then, after the fact, you laugh your tail off,
right.
And you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing on earth." And she said to me, you should do something like that. And so with Spicoli, it worked out really well.
Sure did. Now, you still hear Otto and Derry on there. I mean, they've got the, when I get out of work, they have the Chris Myers thing on, and Otto and Derry are doing updates. Have you talked to those guys? I just wonder what it's like around there with everybody gone.
It's kind of the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have, general conversations, I suppose, and all that stuff, but in terms of, in-depth conversation
right.
and whatnot, no, I mean, it's, as I said, I don't think anybody really wants to talk about it because I think a lot of people are of the opinion that, gosh, boy, I hope the station holds on, and I hope that, everything's okay at the end of the day, and so because of that, nobody really wants to talk about it. It's almost like the unmentionable. But you're right. There's just this incredible feeling of what the heck's going to happen
right.
now, and nobody has the answer. I mean, I guess nobody knows but, the corporate people down in San Antonio and whatnot.
You brought some things that were really revolutionary to the air in addition to the stuff we talked about, and I think one of them was Fantasy Sports Geekly. You came into that early. You were one of the first people on radio that really started to take it seriously and recognize that there were people out there that loved fantasy sports. How did that start, the concept for Fantasy Sports Geekly? Because I loved it, and a lot of my friends did too. It was kind of a campy show, but you guys had a lot of good information too.
Well, thank you. Again, we tried to have fun with it and, tried to be wacky and zany during the show. Going back to 2001, the summer of 2001, I had been bugging the then program director, Greg Henson, about potentially doing a show like that, and he gave it the green light. It would have never happened without Henson. That's the one thing about it. Henson said, let's do it, and we did it. And, the first year, I think we kind of went on a week-by-week basis. Okay, we'll do the show this week, and we'll see how the calls are, and maybe we'll do another show next week and everything, but the outpouring and the phone calls and the amount of emails that I got, it was remarkable. I mean, I don't think anybody envisioned that would turn into, I guess, the machine, the entity that it did. And it was a lot of fun. It was, frankly, it was the second most fun show I did behind Ice Time at the station. I mean, they were all fun, but if I had to put them in order, I would say, the Ice Time show and then Fantasy Sports Geekly and then the Daily Show. I'm a puckhead, so any chance I can get to talk about hockey, that just made my life easier. Did you ever?
I hope you give our listeners an honest answer. We're talking to Sean Baligian from Sports Radio WDFN Detroit, the now syndicated station for the most part. They do have Piston basketball. Sean Baligian, a big host out there. He did the 9 to noon show. It is what it is. Did you ever actually, in all honesty, punch Greg Brady right between the eyes?
No. He did drink my dip cup, though. That is a true story, and I watched him turn colors as he drank my dip cup. Now, Brady and I, we, how do I explain it? we can go at it like brothers go at it. But you know what? Like brothers, and I think he would probably say the same thing about me. We love each other. We respect each other. I even went on his show quite a bit and